What is up, savages? It's your boy Twisty. Today, we're going to go over the top 10 duos in Summoner's War. And as you all know, we like to combine monsters together to put them so that they are more effective, right? So it makes pretty much sense, you know. We have teams like Giants B10 teams, but there are certain monsters, when you combine them together, they're just a lot better than before. So, we're going to begin the top 10 with our first sort of duo is Chasoon. If I find Chasoon, I'll just show the Unawakened. Everyone knows who Chasoon is. As you can see, I don't have Chasoon, but okay, let me just look. There she is. So we have Chasoon, and we have Lucian. Now, you're probably wondering, this is a bit of an odd combination, but it actually works quite well because Lucian's skill is fully recover the target's HP, and Chasoon's skill is this HP balance. So, essentially, these two, when paired together, are very hard to kill, and it also makes other monsters that they're paired with very hard to kill as well. Because you essentially have two monsters which are gonna... Because if you don't know, Chasoon is overpowered. Like, she will take herself and another monster with 1 HP to full HP almost, most of the time. She's ridiculous. She does basically the same thing as Lucian. So, when put together, they're pretty insane. And of course, Chasoon has glancing hit and an AoE heal with attack buff, which is not too important for the duo. And then Lucian has dots and skill time cooldown. So together they have completely different skills apart from the healing aspect of both of them. And when paired together, they are pretty insane. And also they are 4-stars, so they are obviously hard to get, but they're more obtainable than the Nat 5s. So that's a pretty cool duo in general. Okay, so while we're on the Water page, it's pretty good. So the 9th duo, these are all in my opinion. I forgot to mention that at the start of the video, but the 9th duo is Chandra and any squishy nuker. And the reason why is because the second skill decreases. Basically, it gives the ally a shield, and the ally takes no damage, and Shannon takes half of the original damage, right? So, and also, well, this skill is actually not that impressive, but it increases attack speed, but either way, that's not the point. The point is, when you have a squishy nuker, like Sigmarus's skills do a lot of damage, but Sigmarus is very squishy, as everyone knows. Barely any HP, or you can have... I mean, she's not really that squishy. HP is actually pretty decent, but you understand that Mara's a good example, and Gildong's actually a pretty decent example. Julie's a squishy nuker. So those kind of monsters where, if Lucian maybe fits into there. Basically, if you don't attack first, then you're dead. So the idea is to build Chandra fairly speedy. If you're taking Mara or taking Tagaris or something like that, and then you can keep them alive and long enough so that they can attack. And obviously, because they're a nuker, they should kill one of the enemies, and then that's the plan. So that's essentially what this combination is. So it's very versatile as long as you have Chandra. But Chandra is a Nat 5, so that's why it's 9th on the list of the combination. Okay, so the 8th spot for the duo is Leo, and I think everyone is pretty familiar with who he is. And Verdaheal, and I'll show you. Everyone knows what Verd does as well, but I'll show you him afterwards. So the reason why this is a good combo is because Leo makes all attack speed to his. So let's just say, for example, Leo has 200 speed. That means that all monsters can only have 200 speed. So this stops Bernard at 250 speed having higher than 200. So Leo will always go first. And he also decreases the enemy's attack gauge by 10% when he attacks. It's not that amazing, but it's still 10%. It's still some attack gauge reduction. And of course, he just has the usual skills of the Dragon Knights. but where it really comes in handy is because speed no longer matters. Well, it matters if you got less than Leo's speed, then obviously you'll be still slower than Leo. But if you have but you can't go faster than Leo, so you use monsters which increase the attack bar like Vertiheal, and this is actually better when you are when you are not autoing, because this only hits once. So when Verd I'm not showing you the Waken version at the moment, but basically every time he crits, he increases the attack bar by 20%. So if you use the first skill, you can get a 40% attack bar increase. And when you're using him with Leo, that means that the enemy team is, unless they have attack bar buffers, and you're gonna outspeed them every single time. And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty amazing as well. If you pair this with like Spectra or something like that, then you can or Wuchi decrease the enemy's. Yeah, it is Wuchi. I think it's Wuchi. Might not be, but either way, you understand the basic idea. Use attack bar buffers and debuffers for the enemy, and you will have crazy turn advantage over them. So that is the 8th one, because Leo's a Nat 5, so it's fairly hard to get. Okay, so for number 7, both are Nat 5s. So I actually have one of the ones I'm going to mention. So you essentially need a buff remover, and I suppose Tiana is sort of useful for this. However, I don't recommend it. If you've got Praha, use Praha, because she has a heal, AoE heal, and also removes all beneficial effects, right? But this is an 80% chance. If you purely want to remove the effects, this is the guy you're going to use. You're going to use Chiro every single time, because this is a 100% chance. Obviously, you need accuracy. But the idea is, if you're on arena defense or arena offense and there's a Chloe, you take all the buffs off, and then the second guy of the duo, who everyone is probably already guessed who it is, Zeros, he will just basically use his third skill and take all of their things off. Zeros is only useful when the other team doesn't have immunity or doesn't have a load of resistance. That's when you use Zeros. So by taking the buffs off of any Chloes, you essentially make Zeros even more powerful, and that's why this combination is pretty disgusting. Of course, you need to get the speed right on so that the buff removers go before Zeros, but Zeros isn't that fast anyway, so shouldn't have a hard time doing that. So because they are Nat 5s, I had to take that into consideration and put this down as a 7th spot. So for the 6th spot, we have, and let me just find her. I'll find her the Awakened version, Ciara. She was not that great before the buff, but then she instantly gains another turn after using this skill. So essentially, she's pretty powerful now. She's almost overpowered. And you can probably guess the other monsters you pair up with are bombers. So Malaka, Dover, those kind of ones. Jojo is sort of an exception to this because his bombs do not crit. So you can't really do as much damage as you would like with Jojo's bombs. But Ciara by herself is pretty great. But when you've got bombers that go before her, then she goes, blows them all up. You can pretty much one-shot most monsters in the game with this, as long as they don't have immunity. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. So this is basically pair up with any bombers, and she's insane. Okay, so the 5th spot for the duos is Lucian, because he is one of the strongest attackers in the game. It's undisputed. Easily hits 25k with pretty good runes. I've seen him hit 40. It's insane. And Aquila or Seek. And the reason why is because of the attack power and crit rate buff makes Lucian even stronger. You can take defense breakers, and I've seen people use Galleon. But the reason why I don't recommend Galleon is because his third skill already ignores defense. And if you're using Lucian, you're using him for the third skill. The first and second skills are not going to kill most monsters. Unless they are ultra squishy, they're not going to kill most things. So defense breaks are not that useful, but you want the attack buff and crit rate. And the best one for this is probably Aquila, because he removes all beneficial effects. If you've got him on Violent, and then he procs and he uses this as well, and then Lucian goes, it's ridiculous, but of course you need to rely on Violent runes for that. But still, it's pretty overpowered, and they are 4 stars, so this is pretty high up the list at number 5. So yeah. Okay, so number 4, it's going to surprise a few of you, but I'm sure you probably expected this duo to be here. And if you haven't already guessed, it's Shannon and Bernard. This team is insane. Well, it's just not insane, but the combinations that they have are incredible. So Bernard will buff attack bar and attack speed, and will also do a defense break and attack debuff. Nothing too special. It's pretty good, but when you pair it with Shannon, glancing hit, AoE attack speed decrease, and attack power and defense buff. So you have attack power, defense, and speed buff. You have an slow on the enemy team, and you have glancing hit and attack power debuff and defense break on the other team. Potentially, it's crazy. Like they just, the fact that they do not have similar abilities at all makes them. It's like you can't put Shannon and Megan together, but with Shannon Bernard, it gets crazy. This is why everyone uses them for Giants. They're almost a must-have for Giants. I think even teams that auto Giants B10 will use Shannon Bernard a lot of the time. If not, maybe Bernard, or unless they have different monsters. But the reason why I put them at 4 is because they're farmable. In fact, they are the only farmable team on the list. So that's why they're so high up on 4, because if you don't have these 2 monsters, I don't know how you've got so far in the game. Because they're pretty much mandatory to have Shannon Bernard, at least at 5-star. So yeah. So that's the 4th duo. And now we're on to number 3. And let's just find him, Awakened. And no surprise, it's Copper. And when I go to him, it will be... I haven't actually got him yet, Randy. And if you don't know, Copper, his damage is based on defense. And Randy increases the crit rate and defense of all others for 3 turns. And that's insane. Together they're insane, because Copper, if you don't know, the way you rune Copper is purely for crit damage. And on crit damage, defense, or speed crit damage, defense, something along those lines. And you want Copper to hit as bloody hard as possible. And trust me, with Randy and Copper together, it's crazy. And so Randy also ignores defense, but Copper's 3rd skill will ignore defense, and Copper's 3rd skill can one-shot a lot of monsters if you've got him runed correctly. He's insane. I've seen him hit just 35k as a 5-star with good runes that I played against in Guild Wars, and I got wrecked by him because he's on Vamp runes. That's Vamp runes. That's not even Rage runes. That's not even Guard runes. That's just Vamp runes. Like, Copper's got different ways to rune him, but I'm sure everyone knows. Same principles before. These two when paired together are just a perfect combination of monsters, and that's why they're at 3, because together make Copper even stronger, and Copper is one of the best Nat 3s in the game. So, the second team, in the number 2 spot, when I find her, is Chloe, because she has invincibility and immunity for 2 turns, and Katarina. And the reason why this is such a good combination is because the enemy's defense is ignored when used in the invincible state. This is often used in guild battles, because all you need to do is have Chloe, and especially when you're on the offense, you just use Fnatic, and then Katarina is invincible already, and then she attacks 3 times with this, and this skill does a lot of damage as well. You can... I don't know if you often one-shot with this, but it does a ton of damage when you ignore defense. And of course, Katarina's skills are already pretty good as it is. And then of course you've got Chloe healing, and so yeah. The main part of this is to both of them to use the third skills, and then hopefully Katarina one-shots one or two of the monsters. It gets pretty crazy. However, though, it's a bit RNG based depending on who Katarina attacks. So if she attacks someone with immunity, then it's not that great because you cannot target the monsters; it just selects them randomly. So it's a pretty powerful combination, no doubt about that. Katarina is for the most part farmable, except for a few monsters that you need to pull. And Chloe, of course, is a Nat 4, so she's not that bad to get. And also, food for Chloe is the Nat 3 stars you can get. You can get Rena and Michelle. So yeah, that's pretty high up on the list at second. So the number one duo, and I'm pretty sure everyone's figured this out already. And you can already probably guess the fact I've switched to fire. And it is Hua, when I find Hua, and Verdeheal. And this duo is just every dungeon team put together, because he has attack speed of ally monsters in dungeons by 28%. That's pretty good. And of course, like I talked about before, he buffs the attack bar of all allies, so you get more turns. And if we go to Hua, she decreases the enemy's attack bar by 25% when you attack them for each attack, and you strike again with a 20% chance. So you almost have violent runes built in to Hua, right? Her second attack does dots, so good for bosses, and the first attack decreases the enemy's attack speed. So essentially, you're getting a shit ton of turns, putting dots on, and also slowing the enemy down a lot. So this team, this duo, is probably the best duo in the game by far, and they are Nat 4s as well. They are Nat 4s. They're not Nat 5s, so they are in the grand scheme of the game, they're relatively easy to get. I see a lot of people with them. I haven't pulled either of them yet. I'd like to get both of them, but I can't really explain it any more than that. You get a ton of turns. The enemy team barely goes against tanky bosses. It's insane. If you look up on YouTube Dragons B10 speed teams, most of them will have Verdun Hua. Most of them probably will, because it's just how you kill the boss so quickly is to use Verdun Hua. There's other combinations with Nat 5s, Veligil, and things like that, but these two together, you will see them. If just Google, you will see most teams will be Verdun Hua. It's insane. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, if you've got any different opinions of any of the duos that I haven't mentioned in the video, put them in the comments. I'd love to see, because if, like, for example, with my monsters, if I have anything here which is a good paired together that I probably didn't know about, then you could probably just shout it out, and then I can make a video about it, because I'm going to be ruining some of these guys very soon. Rune removal coming out this weekend, in fact. So I'm very interested to see if you guys got any ideas for the monsters I have, because I don't actually have any of the duos I put in the video apart from Shannon and Bernard. So yeah, I mean, there were honorable mentions that are like Veramos and Bella, but to me they're not exactly really a duo, because they don't have abilities that benefit each other, if that makes sense. They're just kind of utility monsters. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Peace out.